Retro, I mean, Retro's holding that position real good. He's not even moving.
Yeah, he's like, hold it.
We don't know how Retros can stay so still, man.
Brace for impact.
All right, what's up, people? Sorry, it's a little late. We're having technical difficulties.
Damn, cat.
And what? Did you see the cat's butt?
We saw the tail. I mean, the butt. I think terms of service might have issues with the butt.
So Retro, what's going on, man? Clocked is faking it. I can see the camera's moving because of the way it's moving on screen. Your forehead, it's pixelating because I could tell the feed was still going.
Dirty bitch.
Oh, shit.
Nice.
Good stuff.
We're just going to hell real quick, bro.
So I was filling something out, and I completely lost track of time too. Otherwise, we might have had these worked out beforehand. So what's up to everybody? This is gonna be interesting. We'll see if Retro can come back. And T, can you talk? I don't know if his audio.
Oh. I thought the audio was fine.
I thought I heard him a little bit ago, but we'll get it figured out. It's all right. It's not like we got anything to talk about. Just some stupid, just a terrible new addition to the Smash roster, and some
the district.
I don't know. People were mad, bro. I've never seen so much blind hatred in my life.
I wasn't mad. It's just one of those whatever characters. Like Joker pissed me off. Steve from Minecraft, it's just whatever.
Yeah, I was indifferent to Steve.
Joker
hit me in a fucking anger.
He just doesn't. He hasn't earned his right. Joker, I still to this day think that that's the most undeserving character in the game.
Yeah, probably.
Other than he's popular in Japan, but
I haven't really thought about it.
I can't think of anybody that deserves being there less than. It would have been Cloud before Final Fantasy VII was finally on a Nintendo system, which he was in before that. But so yeah,
Cloud is no way undeserving. He's
just as far as being on a Nintendo system.
I think it's more. Yeah, I think it's
he'd
more
never been on a Nintendo system in any form.
Well, I think it's more so Cloud is just like that's the Final Fantasy.
Like you could have picked someone from you could have picked Final Fantasy VI, and I feel like
the mistake they made was actually
no,
having
come on,
Final Fantasy VII. They should have just had it as Final Fantasy instead of Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
See, that was always my.
Let's be for real here. Like, in terms of popularity, I mean, there's a reason there's a Final Fantasy VII remake and not a Final Fantasy VI remake. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a reason.
But he was the first.
Final Fantasy.
I think he was the first edition.
Hey, easy now, Rob. All right.
Come on, man. If we're talking about popularity of today, and
yeah, there's no
I
denying
don't care what those PlayStation fans think, right, about Final Fantasy VII.
Also,
I'm not no disrespect to Final Fantasy VI. I do want to play one day. I heard it's really good, but like it's not like if we're talking about like just in terms of popularity, I would argue
Final Fantasy VII was a lot of people's first Final Fantasy.
Yeah, of course.
7 is the casual one.
You had to really like those type of games on the NES to play them because they didn't have anything else going for them. They weren't. And it wasn't till the Super NES where they started like wowing people visually. I don't think on the NES they were really much to. That was my first memory of Final Fantasy 3 is what we called it here. And my buddy was just showing me just some of the beautiful fucking worlds and the music and like standing on the cliff, and like the background, it's all pixel art or whatever. But that was my first like memory of it was just seeing just what it could do on the Super NES. Like wow, like that's something. And then the music was just that was technically 6, right?
Yeah.
So what were in the US? What was on was 1 and 2? What ones were those on the NES? Were there even on the NES in the US, or was 3 the first?
I was pretty sure up until 7, Every other game was on a Nintendo system,
but not in the
Like,
U.S. because 3 was the first.
Well, that's because they released them really fucking weird. Like, I think what is it? 1 is 3 or some shit. Like, we didn't even get all the.
So
Go ahead.
The US got them late, pretty much. You know, it's just pretty much all it was. They just got them late, and they didn't, marketing wise, they didn't want to jump in like at a large number, so they just numbered them as what they were.
I wonder,
There's no other two ways about it.
has 1 through 5 like ever officially been released in the U.S.? Like the Japanese 1 through 5?
Yeah,
you can get
they
them all
have.
now.
Yeah.
You can get them all now. Oh, do you mean on the older consoles? Do you mean?
Well, just like at, I mean, anywhere like PlayStation, Steam,
Eventually, yeah.
they're all on there. I mean,
It took them a while. That was the thing.
Yeah, it would, even on the PlayStation 1, they had like the anthology. What was the anthology one? I think that was some of the older ones.
Yeah.
I didn't buy the anthology one on the PS1 because I bought Final Fantasy 6 on the PlayStation 1, and the loading is just horrendous. It's just I could not play it.
Well, the main
so I didn't bother getting the anthology.
To get back to the main thing that sparked this, like correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like Cloud was the first Smash character that was added to Smash before that character ever been on a Nintendo system.
Well, if it being super technical, technically Cloud's been in like some. Was it been in some Kingdom Hearts stuff?
Yeah, but we don't.
But I wasn't. What Kingdom Hearts games were on this?
I see what you're going for, but
you could argue that Cloud was in like Theatrhythm, which me and Retro like,
stuff like that. Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, you know, this is what I said about them. It could have been Cloud, and it could have just named it Final Fantasy, but it decided to do Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah,
which definitely had never been on
now.
Nintendo.
If you just done Final Fantasy, then I would still say Cloud is still the number one choice to represent Final Fantasy. Just commercially as a whole, not my choice, but just commercially as a whole. So I still think he has all the, even as a character and a legacy character, and the impact that game had on the industry. I mean, that's night and day compared to someone like Joker, who's
we still don't have that fucking game on Switch. That's my issue. Like, bitch, how dare you?
Did we even get the Mushu game?
But only in
Switch.
Japan.
Yeah, it hasn't even been localized yet.
But so anyway,
that was the only
that was my reason when I first saw Cloud. I didn't mind Cloud as a character. I was just like, man, he's never really been. Nintendo's never had Final Fantasy VII on a Nintendo system. So from that perspective, that was the first time I think they went. Yeah, he might have had some guest appearances on some spin-off games, but as far as his main game, to me that's what stood out. Where I said maybe I didn't feel it. You know, at that time, I was all in Nintendo fanboy, pretty much 2014, and I was just like, man, I don't think without having his game on a Nintendo system, I liked having him on there. I mean, he's a great character to play as, but that was kind of the first one that I noticed where I felt like, man, he really hasn't been on a Nintendo system, because everything up until that point, you know, might have been one game like Snake only was in Twin Snakes, and maybe the 3DS game was out too at that point. But
my hype for Cloud when it was announced, because at the same time we knew about the Final Fantasy VII remake, and as soon as I heard as soon as I saw the stars twin and stuff, I went, holy fucking shit. And I was on the phone with my friend, and we both went absolutely nuts. I went, first of all, our first thought was, is Final Fantasy VII remake coming to the Switch? Was it to the Switch? Yeah.
Yeah, no, it would have been Wii U. Wii U because it's Cloud. Yeah.
I don't even remember Cloud's introduction.
He's on the other one. We thought the Final Fantasy VII remake was coming, and that was my first thought. And then obviously we saw them in game and stuff, and I mean, like I said, Final Fantasy VII is my third favorite Final Fantasy, and it's easy to knock it off, but it deserves all of its acclaim. It really does. But like I said, you know, if even, you know, I would love to have Terra in there, you know, as the main one, you know, or Zidane or something like that. But Cloud is the face of Final Fantasy still to this day. There's no two ways about it, and he represents in many respects Nintendo's history with Final Fantasy. That whole Nintendo dire situation where it all went tits up for them, during the N64 and the PS1. So, there's a lot of background to it, and people know the character, and no one's gonna get hyped about Terra or anyone like that.
Yeah, I remember seeing the crowd reactions.
Apart from people like me.
Like the reactions from different people and the crowds at Nintendo store. It's weird that they Smash cross Final Fantasy before just showing him walking like that. It's kind of I don't remember his. I was correct in not remembering a big cinematic because they didn't have one. So I was like,
No,
this is one of the most hype reveals. It's one of the most basic ones, but it's one of the most hype reveals for Smash Bros. It's fucking incredible, and and like I said, I think they made the mistake of not going Final Fantasy, with this and having. I mean, look at the stuff that we've had, like Terry Bogard and stuff, with all that history, all the other characters, and all that stuff. They could have done so much more, but they kind of limited it to Final Fantasy 7 and then didn't include anyone else. Didn't include Barrett, didn't include Yuffie or Tifa, in the background or anything. It was literally just Cloud. And I think that was just the biggest one. I don't know if Square only wanted to give him Cloud. I feel like Sakurai has a bit more, Cloud to actually get more characters like that, but man.
I mean, think about it. Hell, even now, that fucking, I think Square only gave him 2 songs or some shit.
Yeah, like I said, you look at all the other characters, everything they've got is so bare bones, but he's still an epic character reveal.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah,
we can hear you.
Holy shit, my Discord is just fucking up so much. I don't know what's going on.
Welcome to hell, everyone.
I just wanted to say,
you guys can hear me fine?
Yeah,
we can hear you fine.
Yep.
Piece of shit, PC.
I'll say
this turned to shit real quick.
you just got to spend $2,500 T and get one like Robert, and you'd be all set.
Robert's just chilling. He knows that. He's like, I'm good.
Yeah, I didn't spend $2,500 though. Relax. It was less than that at least.
After shipping,
how much was it?
At least
$2,000?
half a grand less than that, yo. At least
after shipping.
What? Wow.
Oh no, it wasn't you that. No, somebody. I was thinking of somebody else that paid like $400 shipping. It was a YouTuber I watched that does this flight sim stuff.
$400 shipping. How does that happen?
Yeah, he had a PC built, and they said they had paid $400 to have it shipped. I'm like, Jesus, you got.
That's not even worth. I would have just. You could have bought a fucking graphics card with that. That's insane.
But anyway, I
was it like the big setup though?
I mean, it was just a standard looking case and. Nothing super fancy.
I thought it was like one of the giant flight simulator.
Well, that's he had the flight simulator already. He just had somebody build him a PC.
Oh, okay.
And shipped the PC by itself. But anyway, we were talking about Smash characters, and we kind of got onto something I didn't even plan. Was talking about some of the other reveals, and so I guess let's just go down and everybody give their whether it's most undeserving in your mind or least exciting. I don't know. It depends, whatever direction you want to take it. Because I kind of said Joker was, I felt the most undeserving character where I was, first I didn't know who the hell it was. It wasn't until the very end, I think it said Persona. And I was just mad that they took such a new, in my mind, he's a newer character. I know he's had some history before Persona 5. I'm just like, what the fuck is he doing in this game? There's no Persona game, no mainline Persona games. I was just, to me, that's when I knew I wasn't going to buy the Fighter Pass. And thanks to, I got it donated to me, and I appreciate that because there's some good characters after that. But to me, that was just it felt the most businessy decision. I don't know. It just didn't feel right. To me, that's the worst one that we've had. And that's including the Wii U to now, basically. Even you could go as far back as, Melee or Brawl when it was getting bigger with the announcements of the new characters. So, Terrell, why don't you go? What character did move the needle the least for you or made you angry, if any?
Oh, it's hard. Because I would put Joker is in that range. For one, I don't care for 5 that much. And then 2 was well, fuck, you couldn't even. It's the spinoff got more love. You couldn't put a Shin Megami Tensei character in there, but you could fucking put Persona in there. You bitch, how dare you? I'm actually scrolling through Wii U's because I had to remind myself of a couple. I think the one that moved the needle the least for me. Actually, I think Steve
Corn?
elicited the least amount of reaction from me so far. Like I think that was the only reveal I kind of looked at with like hella indifference, not even really anger. Like I think Joker had probably the most closest to anger, low key, but like I think Steve, I was just there, bro. It was like, oh look, well, that's probably gonna break Twitter 5 seconds. Oh look, Twitter's broken. All right, cool. Like I've never been that indifferent towards a character reveal. Even the Fire Emblem ones that, although I get, the meme with Fire Emblem and Smash, like even Byleth, I was like, oh, people are gonna be fucking angry. Like I still low key thought it was funny as hell. Steve, I was just kind of like, all right, cool. At least that represents a generation of gamers. They have a character that represents them to a degree. Cool, but like for me personally, I think Steve has been like the least exciting for me, especially considering we just got an ARMS character, which I was just happy about just for the representation. So,
all right, and
I think Steve is my least exciting.
I want to get to Toy Cargo's Vroom had a comment similar to somebody's comment about.
I love that.
Was
name.
it Mike? No, the Travis. We'll get to that. Definitely want to get to the people saying they're done with Smash after certain announcements and stuff. So I definitely want to touch on that after we get everybody's, least exciting or most anger-inducing character. So Retro Death, who do you have one that stands out?
I have one. Same as most people's, I guess. Because like I love Final Fantasy because I want to touch upon that quickly as well. But like I don't like Final Fantasy VII and I hate Cloud. Like people love to throw the shit Mary Sue around for every character, but Cloud is like the most Mary Sue character ever and shit. But
I'm gonna disagree with that.
Even when he got revealed over a game I didn't like as much, over a character I hate, I was so excited. I fucking main him now because he plays great and Final Fantasy deserved the rep, and Cloud just is that for Final Fantasy, even if I don't want it. And the same kind of goes for like Steve in Minecraft. Like I have this disdain for Minecraft, but it's obvious why he should be in there. But when Joker was in there, I was like, who is this? Who is? And I'm not like gaming. Come on, it's like video games and shit. I had no idea who the fuck this was. And even after I knew who he was, I'm like, okay, now I kind of know who he is. Why is he in this game? It's like Joker is just obscene that he's in the game. I don't know, that's the one that hurts the most, that still now pisses me off. Like, and you remember in the Wii U when you got like a new reveal and people were like, this takes up a slot, but it never took up a slot. But now you had 5 slots.
Yeah, it literally took up a slot.
Joker took up like one of the first slots. It's like, it just made me mad, and it still pisses me off.
And then they followed it up with,
I see him and he's nothing.
Hero's a great character too, and he's had a long history in Nintendo, but another like non-exciting character for mostly the Western audience. I mean, it was huge in Japan, but so they kind of, for me, they started it off with a character that just simply didn't deserve to be in the game, and then another character that was just kind of not exciting. So it was kind of, they started off for me those first two. But all right, T, who do you got for least exciting and or anger inducing?
I wouldn't say anger inducing, but it's the same as Retro does. How many games is Joker in?
Like
how many different games is he in?
I think he's in 2.
Probably like 3.
I mean, no, he's in 5. He's in Scramble. He's in Dancing All Night.
He's going to be in a dancing game, yeah.
And then he's in
before
Persona Q. Persona.
How many
Persona
games was he in when he was announced?
2.
1.
Scramble
hadn't even been announced yet.
Persona Q.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Persona
Q, so
Q.
2. So yeah,
Okay.
2.
Yeah.
I was
So
on
fuck
3DS
Joker.
at least.
It hadn't even released though yet. That was my problem.
It's bullshit. Joker is clearly the one that I was just like, why? Joker is for me the new Snake.
Oh damn!
Why the fuck is Snake in this fucking game? We have no representation. The only representation that we have of Snake on a Nintendo console is like, because Nintendo had Silicon Knights and they made Twin Snakes. Like they Kojima could give two shits about a Nintendo console. So I'm like, why are we promoting
That is kind of true.
this product? And it's not as bad for me. Honestly, it's not as bad as Snake, but it's just kind of like what? Like why?
Snake was really
we don't have
what
any
the fuck.
mainline games. Yeah.
We still don't have any mainline games.
Joker.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We don't have any mainline games with this character in it. Did you guys talk about Steve? Or we'll give him a take in a minute.
Yeah, I just wanted to know what. And
okay.
I assume that Steve wasn't that character for anyone here. Otherwise, I probably would have started with that question. And also mythical. We're just talking about the initial reveal of the character. We're not talking about how their moveset and how playing as them actually turned out and stuff. We're just talking about the impact of the reveal and the announcement of this character. Mostly because Cloud, I never played Final Fantasy VII. I could have cared less, but I mained him. He was one of my 3 mains, I think, on Wii U. I mean, he's a great character.
That was the character. Juice was like, all right, it's time to win some matches.
Yeah, if I needed,
and he go pick Cloud, and I'm like, you bitch.
If I,
I don't care about Joker's moveset.
No, Joker's. I hate playing as Joker. I don't like him.
I like his moveset. And I mean, I understood it. It just annoys me that you put the side games character in, but you didn't even put Shin Megami Tensei representation in there. That only annoys me just on a personal level. I'm like, what the fuck?
Well,
like, have we gotten to that point now? Shit. At least we had Shin Megami Tensei games on Nintendo system.
As a Shin Megami Tensei fan who is envious of the fact that the fucking side game, the side chick, gets more love these days.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask
the spin-off hoe.
Clocked it. You started Persona.
I'm definitely annoyed by
Clocked it. Didn't you play Persona 5?
Yeah, I got it up there.
All right, so I'm gonna ask you and Terrell this question because I was watching Neo GameSpark, and no offense to him, but he constantly talks about how he's still playing Persona 5. Now he's playing the new Royal or whatever.
Royal edition.
So what do you guys think when you hear somebody just talk about this game like it's just the greatest thing ever? Do you just say it's different opinions, or can you help but feel things towards them knowing after having played the game?
Now here's the thing. So I started playing Persona 4, which is the previous game, which came out originally on the PlayStation 2, and then got its port to the Vita, I believe, later as Golden. Yeah. I think gameplay wise, at least from what I've played of 4, Persona 5 is probably the best game, but I think it has like the weakest story and characters. My God, so like when someone tells me that Persona 5 is the great, you know why? Also the reason why it pisses me off, because it came out like a year later after. I think it was a year later after Xenoblade 2, and I fucking love that game. I was like, this is the greatest RPG in the last 5. I was like, bitch, how dare you? How dare you? So that one genuinely gets me angry because I think Persona 5 isn't a strong game from like the main thing people play Persona 4, which is the characters and shit. I think it's weak in that aspect. Also, I just think there's a better game that came out a year before.
What about you, Clocked? What do you think when somebody's just hails Persona 5 like to the greatness?
I've been surrounded by these people. Some of my best friends, love this game. To the moon and back. I think the biggest draw is obviously its visual style. It is it's a very stylish game. It's got stunning menus. It's got probably some of the best menus you'll see in a video game.
Agreed.
Those are just facts. I love that you can go to these little Tokyo alleyways and stuff like that. It's my problem with the game was the uninteresting battle system and the dungeon. Now, I haven't played enough to give my full opinion on this game because my PS4 busted and I lost my whole save, and I didn't want to go through the torment of that first castle again because it's just long-winded. You just sneak up on the bad guys, rinse the battle system, and then just try to move along. It just wasn't for me. And I've played a lot of RPGs, and I could roll off a ton of RPGs just off my tongue. that do things just pace-wise, and structure-wise, and character-wise better than what I've currently experienced with Persona 5. Now, if someone wants to love that game to the moon and back, that that's up to them. It's for me to sit here and really say that it's a trash game. That's just me being stupid because it's not. But I don't rank it up there as highly as other people. So
The reason
that's where I stand.
The reason I asked this question because I seen people with Xbox Series S and X coming out on PlayStation 5. Somebody asked, top 4 games of the generation. I seen some people who were mixing Wii U and Switch together, so it's a little confusing. So people are taking 4 screenshots or the box art or whatever and posting on Twitter. And I don't want to get in a debate right now, Retro. I'm just saying what made me think of this was somebody's first game of generation was fucking Spider-Man on PS4, and I instantly just said that person's not a gamer. That was my instant thought to my head. That person's not a real gamer. Honestly, it wasn't a conscious decision. That was instant first response, and I'm just like,
I'm only gonna say one thing.
They don't like gameplay. That's what I thought.
I'm gonna say one thing. I would have the same initial reaction when I see God of War on that list.
Well, I'll be honest.
We all probably have games.
Those damn tweets, yo. Though, like, when you see and when it's like all 4 like just Sony games I'm just like, all right, like you didn't play a whole lot of variety. James, what you're telling me?
I didn't see any Death.
That's what you're telling me.
I mean, I would rather see Death Stranding on there than Spider-Man, and I haven't played Death Stranding.
Oh, how dare you! How dare you!
Anyway,
what the fuck,
bro? Because I saw Spider-Man in some of them, and I'm just like, man, just the stealth section alone, like that doesn't. How can you didn't play enough games if you're telling me it's in your top 4 when the Mary Jane sections exist?
All right, well, let's move.
Alone.
What the only merit I would give in something like Death Stranding is at least it's like. Obviously it's tedious as shit, but at least it's like different. Like you wouldn't want a game of the generation. You wouldn't want a game of the generation to be like different and like impactful. Spider-Man, come on, man! It looks like a prettier version of Spider-Man 2 on GameCube.
So we'll get into this as we get closer.
I knew this was gonna happen.
We'll give our games of the generation. So clocked it. Smash character that had you the least excited or disappointed, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, Steve is up there and Joker is up there, without a doubt. I've never been angry at a Smash Bros. Character reveal,
You're
really.
angry all the time. I don't believe that for a second.
Retro, that's you.
I find
you're the one who's angry.
I do find most announcements really exciting, although the Minecraft one, I mean, the build-up to it was cool, and then as soon as you saw Steve, you just deflate. I deflated. I was like, oh, I can't give a shit. But I've kind of felt the same about other characters like
Corrin was one I forgot to mention.
Corrin and Robin.
Yeah, Corrin was good.
I've played. I completed Awakening, and I nearly completed Fates. I should just go back and finish it. I was right at the fucking end. So I know the characters, but I just find them. Just their reveal so underwhelming and just so boring, and it was kind of like with who else? Like Incineroar. Now Incineroar is a cool ass character. He looks great, he plays great, but his reveal and stuff. I mean, after you come after Ken, you had Ken fucking Masters. You know what I'm saying? Jump into the arena, and then you have Incineroar. I'm just like, I'm sorry, man. It's just no contest. Get out of here. I don't even know. What's going on.
I figured that was gonna happen.
Why are you even here? So, I have some of those characters, so I'm just like, I just don't care about them. But I've never been angry, and I wasn't angry at Steve. I think Steve is as a character is just visually horrendous. It is like the baseline of the worst possible character design. The baseline, the worst possible character design you can get in.
It's so true.
It's just fucking. He's just horrendous. So visually, he cannot stimulate you. He cannot do anything. And then when you see him standing there, he's like,
he stimulated Rob.
To be honest, I tell you what would happen. And even though there's a legacy, if they announce Game & Watch now as a DLC character, yeah, I feel like I would struggle as well to find any excitement because, even though Game Watch is a lot more quirkier because he's got the freeze animations and stuff like that. There is a bit more character to it, but still, you're scratching on the surface of, is this even a character?
Yeah.
And I played Minecraft. I got well over 100 hours in Minecraft. I have enjoyed the time I played with it, but I never knew the character's name was Steve.
Neither did I till Robert said it 2 years ago.
He was just an avatar. So I never knew that. So obviously the Steve thing is probably in the game somewhere. It might be just the first name that you pick. I've never noticed. But just character design wise, fuck me, just absolutely diabolically horrendous.
It's funny how you said how Mr. Game & Watch.
He's about to die.
He has like 2 or 3 frames.
That's the worst.
Did you see the video with like the dodge roll of Steve, where he's just not even a frame? It's just like
he does. He glides across the goddamn map.
Yeah,
It's ridiculous.
But then, like I watched Sakurai's gameplay of him. I was just like, he's one of those characters now that I couldn't even be bothered making the effort to play with because I don't want to stand there fucking going, digging shit up and then cycling through menus.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
I can't be bothered. That's not Smash Brothers to me. I don't like busy characters like that. I just don't like them.
It's impressive.
That's what I said too. It's just
I gave Sakurai a lot of respect because he made him work in a way, and I was
it's got nothing to do with what Sakurai has done with the character. Yeah, he done what he could do with Steve, this blocky ass block motherfucker in Smash Brothers, right? He's done what he could. I salute you, Sakurai.
Jesus Christ!
But I can't be bothered playing with that type of character where I just can't be bothered.
It's gonna be annoying to play against too.
Bitch, I hate blocks. I like triangles, motherfucker. Give me some polygon.
I can't.
It was
horrendous.
so much, Clockton.
Absolutely
It was
horrendous.
so much. It
All
was
right.
so much, bro.
But I'm also in a camp of, I'm not angry. I don't care.
Oh,
It's
Christ.
Minecraft. It is the biggest selling game in the world. Everyone's heard of it, even if you don't fucking play it. Everyone has heard of it. I tell you, actually, do you know what? I say that right. I say this right. If they announced a Tetris character and it was just the block pieces and they all merged together as like this
That'd be
funky
cool.
little character, I'd be like, that's fucking cool.
Yeah,
That's fucking cool.
Somebody just
I mean,
pointed
dude,
out, Toy Car just pointed out that
No, man.
Fortnite is a real possibility now.
No, it's not.
Oh,
no, come on,
it's
that's not the same.
It's not cool. No,
That's not
fucking
the
I
same.
feel like Minecraft's been around for over a decade. It's not
Yeah,
even
I was
gonna
like,
matter.
Minecraft has the least.
Fortnite
Minecraft
is
has a legacy.
The biggest game money wise, I think, or was maybe not anymore. Anyway, Robert,
Yeah.
who was your least exciting reveal?
The least exciting
Since
reveal,
Brawl to
I
now.
mean, Jesus, that's well, admittedly, Brawl. I can't even say like I remember the
I
days
don't
of
either.
Brawl of, you know what I mean? Like
I mean,
that.
Brawl's newcomers were pretty much all Nintendo characters, barring like
Yeah, it was,
Sonic.
Snake and Sonic, and I think Snake and Sonic were the only 2 third-party characters.
yeah, because that
Yeah,
was the
they
whole
were,
deal about them.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
back when Nintendo was way more focused about putting in all the Nintendo.
Yeah, I work with a
characters,
20-year-old kid. He didn't realize there was any non-Nintendo characters in Smash. That's how little he knows about Smash and Nintendo.
Damn. Well, I mean, my big thing. I remember, when Terry got in Smash, we had a huge debate on whether he deserved it or not. Because I was always like, man, if we're gonna get another fighting rep, I just felt like he's very similar to Ryu and Ken and shit. Fucking Mortal Kombat, talk about the biggest fighter in next to Smash, the second biggest fighting series. And to me, it's like I think Mortal Kombat deserves a rep over Terry Bogard that had his most popular game sold 200,000 copies. It's like, to me, that was my whole big thing. And I know obviously, and look, I like the character actually. I do like how he plays. It's just it to me very similar to Ken or Ryu, and I think someone like a Sub-Zero or Scorpion, come on, that'd be crazy. It would be legit like. And it was also my big thing was like, no one was asking for this character. Everyone's like, oh, that's. What do you mean? And I'm like, dude, I never heard this name be brought up on any.
He never
prediction
made
list
any
or
prediction
anything.
lists. Yeah, that's.
No one's ever brought up Hey, my boy Terry, boy. My boy Terry.
That's what makes it so good, though. The fact that it was so out of left field, but it made a lot of sense.
Don't get me wrong. Like
He's a cool character.
Obviously, I actually, in the end of the day, I enjoyed it. I don't really dislike any of the damn characters because Sakurai just, they make them fun to play for anybody, and it's cool to at least learn new franchises, shit like that. I just personally thought of getting at a fighting rep. I think it would have been cool to have the one that still gets supported on Nintendo today. Mortal Kombat 11 and stuff. And so it's like, I love Mortal Kombat also, so I thought that would have been cool. And I still think there's a chance. I think in the future maybe we might get a Mortal Kombat character like a Scorpion or
I think
something.
they can make it work.
Yeah,
cool.
I feel like that one's gonna be hard because of the whole gore aspect. Like,
well, I think you can just add. You would just add Liu Kang. That's all you need to add in.
Actually, Liu Kang would be that would be the.
No, it's gotta be Scorpion, dude. You can still grab.
You give him the green blood like they did in Super Nintendo, or the gray blood.
Who cares?
All right, so
you don't even have to
remember that game still has to keep its E rating. Remember that.
If Nintendo is willing to have like a reveal trailer with Ridley murdering Mario and Mega Man,
it's implied murder.
In the game.
It's implied.
It's never shown. A lot of people think that if you have Mortal Kombat, you have to have him kill somebody. It doesn't have to happen. Like
that's like Mortal Kombat's main gimmick is the murder.
Mortal Kombat.
But
like that, who the fuck thinks about Mortal Kombat? Doesn't think about the murder.
Just take out the finisher.
Why don't you cut Deadpool's balls off while you're at it?
They don't have to murder. They can do an animality or a babality or something like that.
Yeah. So
the thing is, even Deadpool and multiple Marvel Ultimate Alliance doesn't kill people and start spewing blood. You know what I'm saying? And he's still Deadpool.
It's just like riding their corpses and shit.
No, but he's kind of not. He's Deadpool, but he's kind of not.
Fuck. He's
all right.
Deadpool.
So let's talk about
have Snake in the game, not sneaking, and Bayonetta, not like nakedly riding some demons and shit. You can put Scorpion in there without blood.
But for some reason, it's the violence. But we could keep every sexual thing, but that's fairly fine. We could have Joker with his actual gun. We could have, that's fine. But you can't have Scorpion.
They call it a gun, but
that's the difference. In America, we like the what is it? The violence is okay, but not the sexual stuff.
Yeah.
But it's different in Japan.
In our newspapers,
Japan is the opposite.
On page 3,
Japan's the opposite.
We have topless women in the UK. But what I was going to say is ask yourself this: if Mortal Kombat did come into Smash Bros., would you really want the character to be doing fatalities on all the other characters?
I want them to do it like in the original Mortal Kombat. Like,
it's not.
Fatality, just like an uppercut, and that's like 5 Mario heads flying around and shit.
That's stupid. It's just so stupid when you think about it. You don't want to be punching Mario's head off in Smash Bros. It's stupid.
You're also talking to the guy. To be fair, you're talking to the guy named Retro Death, for God's sake. Like, I don't know why were you surprised that he was interested?
If for some reason we actually have fatalities, that'd be hilarious.
No, it wouldn't. It'd be garbage. You are completely.
You know what they would probably do if you would have final smashes? Let's say you have Liu Kang. The final smash would just be a bicycle kick off the screen, some shit like that. They're not actually gonna do a fatality. Even if he does a bicycle kick and he's gonna say fatality, some shit, Obviously, they're not actually going to rip Mario's head off.
But Retro, you want the fatality. That's the irony of it all.
It's part of it. Come on.
Yeah, see, I already knew what it was.
And the final smash isn't the end of the round in Smash Brothers. How many times are you going to punch Mario's head off or Peach's head off? Or
that's what Mortal Kombat is. You can do fatality like every fucking
many times as it takes.
It'll come off. It'll stay off. God damn it!
You have Mortal Kombat now, and they break somebody's neck 5 times in one fight. Come on,
Mario doesn't even have a neck.
And they come back in the next round.
What do you guys think of Steve's final smash? I don't know. As someone who hasn't played Minecraft, I don't know the significance of it.
Creepers.
It completely makes sense.
It makes sense. His victory screen makes sense. The whole building a house shit. That's
the victory screen is hilarious. I love that shit. He just casually builds a house. He just looks there and he just closes it and he just stares at the screen. That shit is
So you guys think? Did you get the sense that Sakurai? I mean, obviously they made the character work, but some people were saying after the reveal that he seemed really unenthusiastic about announcing it.
Bullshit.
And people just
It-
wanted to. People want him to be.
I don't
dead,
know, I
but he's
kinda
It's not
not.
that
I
he was
see it.
enthusiastic.
Dude, he straight
I don't
up
think he
in the
was-
video. He straight up in the video made sure that everyone knew it was Nintendo's idea. He
Yeah.
made that shit
He's-
straight.
He's
He's
Very
like,
nice.
just
happier
said, don't
than
come after me
before.
for this.
But no.
Even the
no.
beginning
He
was
made
just like,
sure
oh, I
from the
guess,
beginning-
I-
from the beginning that the Fighters Pass. If he knew, he said from the beginning that the whole Fighters Pass is from Nintendo themselves, and he said he has the authority. This is Sakurai talking about. He's like, if it doesn't work, he could tell him, look, that shit's not
That
gonna
is
work.
true.
And
that doesn't
this man put in
mean
the
that
fucking
he's.
work. He made it where every single. Think about it. This man loved this character. He loved him so much. He worked on every single stage for this man. He
I
loved
agree
it. Come on.
I agree with Robert. It's people want Sakurai to be unenthusiastic
want
because they are unenthusiastic about it.
Yeah.
Sakurai,
Right.
to me, in the stream, he seemed happy. Remember, he used to be so tired. People were like, Sakurai, take a vacation. You look dead. You look fucking happy. He was excited and shit. Like he was happy telling her about it. He was talking about like Microsoft and like playing Minecraft and all that shit. No way was this dude unenthusiastic. No
Well,
way.
then he also is a
you-
Minecraft fan.
Yeah, I mean, he
So
literally,
like for me, it's like, I'm a little, thinking about it. Like I'm worried because I'm like, oh no, Nintendo obviously is thinking about box office if they're picking fucking Minecraft. Because Fortnite is next and all kinds of shit. But then I'm like, they put up Terry Bogard as well. So I'm like, that's a big
Mhm.
that's a big difference there, you know. So
That
it's
is
just like
true.
they're still elite. They still, you know, Terry Bogart's pretty much the only example. Maybe Hero as well. Where they're like, it's not so much box office as it is, a character that is a staple in gaming. So
Remember, a lot of people were asking for Banjo. Everybody was asking for
Yeah.
Banjo, and
Yeah.
people might.
I don't know
not
people
have
asking for
acknowledged
Steve.
That, like
Yeah, people
everybody
been
was
asking for Steve for a while.
since for Wii U.
Yeah, since 4.
This
Yeah.
is probably
So, but I laughed. I'd be like, there's no way they're gonna put Steve.
Yeah, exactly.
He's
Well, we're
not really
listening-
even a character. He's not gonna be in it, and the joke's on me apparently.
Wasn't it Dave 97 on Discord? Dave 97, I think, found our predictions podcast from 2018 in December,
so funny.
and Robert was just adamant about Steve. This was for the first DLC, which
Yeah,
he didn't
I
make.
remember that. Yeah.
And T was just all caught up in Han Solo shit. That movie had just come out. And we couldn't even get 5. We got 4, and it was Steve, Rayman, a Resident Evil character, and a Xenoblade Chronicles 2 character. And
I actually thought it was gonna be Resident Evil.
And Therm Scissor Punch.
yeah, I mean Banjo was mentioned. Banjo was definitely mentioned, but I'd never. Oh, we said an ARMS character too. I think we mentioned
Oh, yeah.
an ARMS
We did?
character. Yeah, we mentioned an ARMS character. We thought for sure Xenoblade Chronicles 2, ARMS, Steve, Rayman, and Resident Evil characters. So
Close.
there's still a
Getting
chance,
close.
but that's when we only
Might be
thought
up.
that there was going to be 5.
To be fair,
How
the
much
way
is the? Go ahead.
I was gonna say, to be fair, the way the trailer started, you almost think it was Resident Evil when they threw Mario in the darkness. I was like,
Yeah,
are they gonna get
I had
picked
no
up?
clue. I had
No.
zero clue what it would have been. I was like,
I knew it.
I'm like,
I wish I would have recorded myself. I was like, no fucking way that they're doing this. And
I didn't.
I just
know
added-
until I hear the zombie noise. But at one
Yeah, once
point,
I heard the
me and
noise-
Retro were talking. I thought I heard the sound of a Metroid. So I thought, are you actually going to be playing as a Metroid itself?
No.
That's what I thought I heard at one point.
The shit made me think of Metroid when it was in the dark. But obviously,
The
like,
minute
I don't play Minecraft, so I'm not a fan. So I don't recognize the sounds. Plus, like when Mario went through the wall, I was like, "Hey, that looked like a cool toon effect." But that was obviously not like a toon effect. You see kind of the blocks of
Yeah.
Minecraft and the sounds, but I
That
don't
was the first
recognize that
real
shit.
clue.
I'm
That
just
was the
saying,
first
in
my
the
kids
dark,
play
I'm like,
Minecraft. My kids play Minecraft. I knew right away. I was like, no way. I even ran and grabbed them. They were in school and at home, school at home. And I'm like, oh, I
Okay.
should probably be bothering them. But
I
I knew right away. When it went dark and I heard a little music, I was like, no way.
I tried to throw Robert off the scent.
Obviously.
I was like, I mean, it's probably a little less exciting than Min Min or something like that. I said you still might want to do a reaction to it, and he fell for
they
it.
don't play. They loved it. They don't play. Obviously, they don't play Smash, but they were super like, oh my god.
Speaking of
So
don't play Smash, Toy Car mentioned earlier he stopped playing after Byleth. I seen somebody saying they're done playing Smash after Travis got a Mii costume. And I'm like, there's two levels to that one, but mainly it's like, really, are you really a Smash fan if you could stop playing it because of a Mii costume maybe takes away a character you're hoping for? Like, what are you playing for? What are you playing it for now? If Travis not being in there makes you stop playing it, what the fuck are you playing it for? Why'd you buy
he hasn't been in it since he's been out as a character.
You know, I lost Bomberman, you know, to
that annoyed me too.
Bomberman's weird because it just looks like Bomberman.
He looks just like him, yeah, just like Cuphead.
But he doesn't fight like him.
No, but
looking like the character.
That's what we're
It's
saying.
not about looking like him. Yeah,
I know.
That's what we're saying.
He's gonna play nothing like Bomberman. It's just
He's not.
Yeah, that's what makes it. I think that's what Rob was saying. That's what makes it so weird. They look just like the character. It's like, then why not just put the character?
Why not just fucking make
Son
Bomberman?
of a bitches with that fucking Bomberman. Bomberman is one of my top 3 next to Mega Man and Pac-Man that I always wanted. You got the assist trophy. Oh, you can't happen anymore. Oh, here you got like a fucking Mii costume. Like you guys said, it looks exactly like it. You can't just add like a pixelated bomb he throws and make him a character. Like, what is that bullshit?
It's like Cuphead looks just like him.
I blame Konami. That's what I blame.
That pissed me off.
yeah.
So
it's like, well, at least with Travis, like he's gonna be doing sword-based things, so you can. But even that, you know, there could have been some really cool moves you could have threw in with Travis.
I just don't understand the mentality of like if that person was serious, not just being over dramatic. Like Toy Car in the chat, he said he'd. Say stop playing after Byleth. Well, you don't have to play as Byleth. You didn't have to buy Byleth, unless the fact that was, you know, the fighter pass, which I said, I don't know how long ago. It's your damn fault for buying something before you knew all the characters.
How much was the fighter pass?
It wasn't any cheaper to buy the fighter pass versus. Or wait, was it $1 cheaper?
It was a little bit cheaper.
Was it $5 cheaper?
It was like $5
but
cheaper.
Still,
because it's cheaper because there's a 6th character.
This time it's 30.
Well, even at the first one,
and it would be 36 to buy them individually. So yeah, you save a little bit of money.
I'm glad I didn't buy that shit.
But if you're buying something before you know, just like I bought the season pass to Hyrule Warriors, and then when it came out, the content wasn't anything like adding, you know, really any content for me. I was mad at myself. I wasn't mad at Koei Tecmo for what they put out. I was mad at myself for buying the damn thing before I knew what was actually going to be in it. So at that,
now, well, if you say something like, "Oh, I'm not gonna be, you know, standing up or paying attention or being excited for the next reveal," I can understand that. But to be like, "I don't want to play Smash," any different.
Your picture froze, T.
Not just a
I wish.
Hello.
There you go.
That's good.
It would have been funny if it froze on your Smash reveal
I'm on
thumbnail.
Wi-Fi, so
if it would have been like a Smash reveal thumbnail like picture, that would have been awesome if it froze. Did it freeze again? Yeah, it's freezing a little bit, T. But yeah, it's like
I'm on Wi-Fi and everybody else in the house is too.
All right. So you know, like for me, it'd be like, oh, you know, this is going to be the characters, so I'm definitely not going to buy the next fighter pass until I see all the characters, or I might buy one character if it's a really good character, but I'm not going to give them $30 before I see the characters after what the first fighter pass was. 3 characters that I just don't care about. You know, I do like how Terry plays, and Hero's actually fun to play as, but as far as like the actual excitement of it and stuff, you know, Byleth wasn't exciting either, so really, I love how she plays.
Yeah,
but it all boils down to, like somebody said earlier in the chat, really boils down to how they play, and I never cared about Wii Fit Trainer announcement. I thought it was funny, you know, the trailer.
And that's your fucking main.
And then it's like, wow, this character is just really fun to play as, and then I just have a special, like when I play as her, it's like I awaken my skills of doing things I don't do with other characters.
And I hate fucking volleyballs. Holy
Every
shit!
time I hate that fucking volleyball, I get so mad.
I know, and it's once I
Always
figured out,
hits.
you know, what other ways like to help get back on the ledge, you can use that move to get you a little bit closer, and it's just you just figure out a character, and that's the first time I've had a main character in a Smash Brothers game. And
which is funny
I
because she's
agree,
like she's one of the most janky fucking characters in terms of moveset because she's all over the place with her fucking attacks.
I just wish her down B wasn't just like a little power booster.
I love that reveal.
It's still a great reveal.
Yeah,
Quirky
it's
character.
pretty cool, yo.
So bring on Ring Fit Trainer.
No, Drago, yo, Drago. It's gotta be Drago.
No, I don't need to see that.
My favorite thing though is KO and Young Link with Wii Fit with the ball or spiking or a kick to the face. You know, when that bastard used to play with this all the time. Always played as Link. He went from Young Link,
wow.
Young Link to Adult Link.
Jesus Christ, bro!
So like you holding some anger.
Nah, he's just in the chat.
Some hateivity. That's some hateivity in his soul.
Gotta move on, man. Get rid of that negativity.
We've had some good memories though. When we used to play Wii U, we were like, it felt like every weekend almost, or at least 2 to 3 times a month. We played till like 3, 4 in the morning.
And it was pretty consistent.
Kind of like Mario Maker 2 appeal, you know, didn't last as long. I feel like the Smash Ultimate, you know, faded quick too. And it could just be because of other games, and also, you know,
I think it's the Switch.
What
Online
other games?
Yeah.
Switch Online hate.
Wow.
Deep in the soul.
Yeah.
And we got, you know, 2 guys from major different time zones. It's a little bit harder.
Time zone difference.
It's a little bit harder, you know, but
yeah.
still,
Don't blame on you guys.
Playing. We'll join in if you're there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you tell me you're playing, fuck, I'll be there.
I was a little
The same reason we didn't. The same reason we didn't play Federation Force. Because you guys are so far away, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Juice
Not the
played a
reason
little
we
bit.
didn't play Federation
Me and
Force.
Robert played one time Federation Force co-op.
And you never played it again.
I said that's the last time I buy a co-op game
It's
ever.
still online, guys.
Because that day I also beat it. Right? I just stayed up all night. I just ripped through that game for some reason. I don't know why.
Actually, think back. I played quite a lot of 3DS games online. I loved Kick.
We should play Federation Force after the podcast.
Kid Icarus was an experience online. It really was.
Let's do it.
My 3DS, I literally hadn't touched it in a year, and I turned it on and I got about 5-6 hours of playtime before the low battery signal came on. It hadn't been charged in over a year. It's that 3DS is one of the to go from the new Nintendo 3DS I don't know if it's where it ranks among Nintendo's best, like highest quality made systems. But
somebody had a visitor. Right?
Yeah. To go from what, in my opinion, the new 3DS is their best like handheld from a technical standpoint, design. It's just a really well made piece of tech, and like I said, the battery. It's like my Pro controller on my Switch died after not using it for a month, and what the hell? Why would that drain just sitting there? You know, and yet my 3DS can go a year and then still have 5-6 hours of battery left, and then we go from that to this to a system that apparently doesn't have Joy-Con drift and isn't causing any issues with consumers. Now that is a report from the court case that's going on, whether that's 100% word for word or paraphrasing or just the defense lawyers.
I thought that was the case that Nintendo just won. That was.
I didn't hear about them winning.
No, that wasn't about
That was a $2 million case about hackers and stuff.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So apparently the prosecutor or whatever, the lawyers defending the what's that called? The class action are asking for 90-second videos of people demonstrating the Joy-Con drift and how it's affected them and what they've had to do to try to, get it fixed. And so that was legit.
The thing is though, when you're going up against Nintendo now, we've seen that they've got some of the best lawyers in the damn business. They go hard at whatever they're doing. So when you got this law firm asking people to send in videos for help, please show us. They could send in 1,000 videos and compared to the Switch numbers, it'd be fuck all. It would
Right.
mean shit. They would, to actually have to go out and ask for that type of evidence is just already, I can see them sinking. It won't
That's
mean
a
anything.
fail. All you have to do is get the hardware, and
you need
show
someone
that
else
there is
more-
a flaw in the design.
you need someone else more robust. Because it'd be like the Red Ring attack where Microsoft it got to the point where it hit the news. Microsoft themselves, knew about it. They recalled it, and I said at the time, if there was any other company who had that product on the market, right, any other company, they would have to have it withdrawn from the market because I think it's something like 60% of their units were failing, which is mental. Any other company, that product would have been taken off the shelves.
Right.
Because it's Microsoft, they had the money, they can say to everyone, sorry, we'll replace it, fix you, here we go. They've done it. Anything else would have been taken off.
Yeah, it definitely would have sunk
Nintendo's
most
case,
companies.
Yeah. In Nintendo's case, they need that type of media coverage. And I feel like the only media coverage that has done it are the online IGNs and stuff. And that's not good enough. That's not good enough for to appear on like CNN for you guys or the BBC over here. I haven't seen it on the BBC over here. I haven't seen it in that public eye. It's only in the gaming circles. And I think it's a loser.
It bothers me that we just heard that they doubled their actual cash reserve is now like $600 billion or something, American US dollars, so whatever yen, it's a ridiculous number in yen.
Mm-hmm.
We just hear that, and the fact that they didn't just make it. I mean, I guess they extended the warranty or something, because I know people were sending them in, so I thought it seemed like
for certain regions.
Seems like they did something, but at the same point, like, why do they have to? Why are they fighting this? Why aren't they just taking care of it? Like, I don't. To me, that's not.
But that's the problem right there. That's evidence that Nintendo's putting out there. If there's nothing wrong, why are you fixing everybody's Joy-Cons for free? So you're incriminating yourself by even doing that. So we think, okay, well, they got these lawyers or whatever. It's going to be a wrap for whoever goes up against them. But that is a huge thing that they're doing. That's an admission of guilt.
So somebody Harden said
people have won lawsuits against Nintendo. I remember when the 3DS came out.
3DS.
This guy sued them because he came to Nintendo with the technology for the 3D effect in the 3DS. Nintendo turned him down, then made the 3DS based off his design, and the guy sued him and won.
So apparently, according to Harden Soul, said the lawsuit tied their hands as soon as a class action they were hit with that. Then they obviously. I mean, maybe they weren't going to
do anything until that class action lawsuit.
Yeah.
So the class action is just going to be a big hit to their pocketbooks, not fixing people's Joy-Cons. They're just going to have to hand out.
They're going to settle. I don't think they're going to want to go to trial. They're going to settle.
Yeah. But it would need to be. I mean, like I said, it needs to be, as big as. I mean, remember like the Wiimote. There was nothing wrong with the Wiimote. It was just people being stupid. The Wiimote always came with a wrist strap.
Mm-hmm.
Always came with a wrist strap. Day one. Yeah, it was just people didn't bother putting it on and threw it from their TVs.
Go back even further. Go to the N64 when people were fucking playing Mario Party like this, and it was like fucking their palms up. That's not Nintendo's fault that you play the game like that.
Yeah.
But Nintendo fucking made you a glove and shit for idiots. So
the guy I worked with
cover their bases.
had that problem. He had a big old blister.
But it reached that level of commercial awareness.
Right.
Compared to, like I think so many people have just, so many people haven't had the issue, and those who have had the issue has either just sent them off, or have been vocal like us on these gaming channels. It hasn't reached that media space yet. So I think, that's why.
You know why?
They don't care.
You know why I believe a lot of people haven't had the issue? This. This is why a lot of people haven't had the issue because they bought one of these early on and they mostly play with this.
And that's
But I
the
bought one of these
controller.
early on as well. But I mostly played. I played Zelda and Mario split Joy-Con. I play ARMS that way. You guys know I never liked playing ARMS with the controller. So I use my Joy-Cons. If you're not using your Joy-Cons, then maybe after a year you won't have any problems, or 2 years, because you're using them half or a third of the time that I'm using them. So, but this is the controller that comes with the system. This should not be happening.
My original Joy-Cons had it since day one, the drift. My ex used to play with it. I never used them because I bought the Pro controller like you showed. But my Switch Pro controller, I don't know if you call it the same thing, but since a week now, it's got fucking Joy-Con drift, man. It's going to the left. Since like a week. I don't know why.
Don't tell me that, man.
Oh yeah. I had to go in and I went in and cleaned it out and fixed it. But it happens to this bad boy too. You can see. I don't know if you can see. It's gonna be kind of hard there, but you can see I have tape. You see the tape is kind of lighter. I don't know if you can see with this shitty camera on the iPad, but there's tape up under there. I taped because when you're going like this, you're going plastic to plastic, and that shit's filling up and going down into your analog what do you call it, interface, and so that causes drift. And so I had fucking drift on my and I use this a lot less.
Well, my Pro controller, I have 300 hours in Zelda with it, 75 hours of 3D Mario, 400 hours of Rocket League, 100 and something hours of Smash, all with the Pro controller. I don't have any drift. My D-pad has always been a little unreliable as far as directional input, but it's interesting that
in the last how long has Switch been out? 3 years, 3.5 years. In the last 3.5 years, I've used this probably a third of the time. I've used split Joy-Cons.
So whatever they've used for the analog sticks this generation has just been an absolute fail.
It's been a fail.
If you look at I don't know what caused them to change. I don't know what.
If you really look at the Joy-Con like close up, man, it is just it has almost no range of movement, like from center to the edge. It's like so minimal, and it's just such a pathetic looking thing. And it's like, yeah, I get it. You wanted to keep the width of the Switch down as much as possible, but at what cost? I mean, it's better than the Circle Pad because I went back to the 3DS. But yeah, look at
Circle Pad is fucking ass.
The way to go. I don't know if I'm up
yeah.
on
See how much wider that makes the Switch, but at the same time, make it an option as an official.
But it's so comfortable. It is so comfortable.
Have you just like taken those off and held them like what it would feel like to be split Joy-Con with those?
Yeah.
And is there?
It feels like.
Would it work?
It's kind of weird to me personally.
Well, they're too light, so it's hard to really gauge them because every time I do this, it's
do you feel like
super light.
It could probably have
nothing in here.
Additional grip or something for playing split.
Yeah, but if there's a battery in here, and this could work, just like this. These will work just fine.
Terrell, you have those now?
I've had them for a while.
What do you think? Is it the only way to play portable mode?
I mean, I didn't. I had also had the other grips. I had those grips I bought like pretty early on. I think you saw. Actually,
but those are still with the Joy-Cons, though, right?
Yeah, those are with the Joy-Cons.
See, I like I said in my Juice Opinions video, I went to turn on Rocket League for the first time in a long time using the Joy-Cons. And I couldn't hit the jump button without my thumb bumping the analog stick just because of the placement. But yeah, that
the biggest problem is that the Joy-Cons by themselves are kind of a pain in the ass to hold. That's the main issue. The fact that we have to do this in general is a problem.
And that's just an addition. That's like how does that clip on?
Oh, it's like a plastic covering on the front. Oh. See how like it's like a shell.
Yeah.
It's like a plastic shell.
It still has the problem though that analog stick being right below the B button.
That doesn't really bother me personally. Like I can play handheld mode perfectly fine. Like,
but that looks way better than just the regular Joy-Cons.
Well, that's my point. Like the main problem is that you have to have something like this to make the Switch more comfortable to play in handheld mode.
That's why I bought these. These.
Oh, the battery pack.
Battery pack, right? That came out with
that's a little less ergonomic,
and they feel. This is how I played split for the most part, and it's way more comfortable this way.
Yeah, you just don't have nothing to grip on.
These bad boys are too flat. There's no grip. Yeah, that's the problem. There's really no. There's little dots or whatever to try to give you something, but there's really not any grip.
Because for me, I'd say the last year or so, I've noticed my fingers and my hands aching more, and as I get older, with my job and stuff, where I've actually had to change some of the things I do at work just to try to stop my fingers from aching every day. So holding the damn Switch portable with just the flat Joy-Cons it's an absolute. I can't do it.
So flat.
I literally can't do it unless I just want some distinct discomfort.
No one plays their games like this.
If I want my hands to hurt, otherwise it's not even an option.
God.
It's really not an option for me right now.
Welcome to hell.
So it's just weird how they doubled down on it too. Apparently there was the Switch Lite. They didn't move the analog stick. They didn't add any ergonomics. Cat, what are you doing? And
what up, bitch?
And then there was like and it could just be a placeholder. What do they call that? A patent for a.
Yeah, but all they had was like a circular.
It was a Joy-Con without a rail. It's just a standalone controller, and it was the exact same Joy-Con, which could just be a placeholder. But it's like, you guys need to change that. I don't know why they're so against ergonomics all of a sudden. That used to be their main focus.
Flat. Yeah, it's so fucking flat.
I mean, just holding the nunchuck when I'm playing Galaxy 2. Holding the nunchuck is just like it melts in your hand. Like it's like it's not even there. It's like
yeah.
So
same with the Wii remote.
So what I do as far as now that my freaking Pro controller started drifting, I went back to this bad boy.
Then that fucker's glowing. It's like Ori.
That's how beautiful it is, yo. So
it's like heaven shining on it.
My Wii U Pro controller, I went back to that. So any game that doesn't use gyro, I just use that.
Yeah, if that thing had gyro, I'd probably still use it.
A Wii U Pro controller, yo.
It's weird going back to it now.
80-hour battery on that bad boy.
It's comfortable.
That is crazy though.
That didn't have the best analog sticks either. They didn't have the best travel. But
I
like the Wii U Pro controller. It's just I think with Twilight Princess, we controlling the Epona and stuff. It just didn't feel right. I mean, for games that were designed for it, it wasn't much of an issue.
Well, that's Twilight Princess,
but it's just I did notice that going from 360 to Wii U Pro controller when I was like playing Call of Duty and stuff. That it's a little harder for precision movements. But anyway, the other thing, we got a few other things, and then we'll check the questions. One is, I don't know how much we'll have to say on it. Apparently, Japanese YouTubers got invited to Sony to play PS5, and there's some questions about were these damn PS5s actually, were they empty plastic or were they actually turned on? I didn't really look into that much. But basically they had to go there. They could record footage of Astro's Playground and Godfall and then talk about it. And then it was all in Japanese, so you couldn't really hear, but it seemed like a lot of focus on the controller again, just like their ads. If you've seen their ads on TV and YouTube and stuff, they're definitely focusing on the controller as their main selling point. So there is a question of was it actually a PS5 running, or was it just there and underneath it was a PC or a dev kit? I guess there's some people questioning that. Could just be fanboys. I took it as legit. I don't know. So if it was real, then it was the first time we actually seen a physical PlayStation 5 and people playing it. So, but it was just weird how structured it was and how limiting it was. You couldn't see the operating system. You couldn't see games booting up. You couldn't see load times. It was just footage, random footage.
That still bothers me. Like, why are we still hiding the UI at this point? It comes down like a month.
It's ridiculous.
It reminds me of the Wii U. Remember, we didn't see the Wii U UI till like the day before.
Yeah, because the Wii U's issue was they fucking didn't have it.
That shit wasn't ready.
It just
that shit wasn't.
So is Sony not ready?
Yeah, I'll say, is it?
That's
the
what
same
I'm
issue?
saying.
You fair,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't think it's going to be that much different than the PS4, to be honest.
Neither.
Well, that makes it worse then, because then I'm like, well,
Right.
then why the
It's like,
fuck?
why not?
Why are you hiding
Yeah.
it? It shouldn't be that much of a change.
I mean, Xbox didn't really showcase. It was a very basic looking one with the Series X, where you could see, backwards compatible. So it's like Xbox, all you could see, people got the actual system, but they only could play Xbox One games and Xbox 360 games. And then PS5, they couldn't really talk about the system or showcase like camera. They couldn't show the back of it or anything really. And then they just had 2 games, and they were just like demos, and it was just like so structured, and they were, they couldn't just show it off. It's like, what are you afraid of? Like, what is the reason we haven't been able to see the system turned on and loading up a game? We talk about the solid state. They talk about the solid state. At least just show booting up a level like Godfall or something. That's
well, they showed was booting from dying. Like if you died in a level, how long it would take to recover. And I mean, it's pretty quick. Like no,
but
from what I
it's
saw
really
from
quick in The
video.
Last of Us Part 2. Like there's games that doesn't take long after you die to start back up. So
Right.
I don't know. It just feels
My thing is,
feels weird.
they were like, if I'm remember this correctly, weren't they like, well, I don't know if people were excited, but they were emphasizing you could blow in your controller.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, that's the Japanese.
nobody gave a shit when this could do that. No, like when you play 3D Land, 3D World and shit. And it's like Sony is able to like take everything that fucking Nintendo does and try to make it seem like it's a new thing. Like even the whole microphone thing on, or the speaker on the PS4. What's it called? DualShock 4. It's like, it's like, well, Nintendo was doing that on the Wii, and I was just thinking about how cool it was when they actually utilized that and stuff like, I'm sure Retro will remember this, and Fragile Dreams, where certain things would come through the speaker like fucking cats and shit meowing, and it was just the coolest shit. And I'm like, nobody gives a shit when Nintendo innovates with that kind of stuff.
Nintendo
But
thought it
Sony
was so cool
comes
that
in
they
and tries to like pull this shit off, like, oh my god, we did this cool new thing. No, it's not really that.
I think a lot of people forget about stuff like that because,
including Nintendo.
on the DS, one of the first,
Nintendo.
on the DS, one of the first games that I loved on our console is one of the launch titles was Road Rabbits from Sega. And that had, you can blow on the characters and stuff like that in there.
Yes,
and,
yeah.
and stuff it was brilliant. But to be fair, Juice is right. I think it's hard for us to see these regressions, because especially when we're getting, because we are still getting great games. We're still getting fucking great games for Nintendo. When they're going at it, and we just it's hard to miss some of these things. And then when you see other companies doing it, I still can't give Sony props because I've had years of Sony since the PS2. I remember when the iToy came up, and the public used to walk past a shop and be dazzled by the iToy. Oh man, I'm gonna buy the iToy to get the camera, to get the game and stuff like that. And the iToy was literally just movement. It didn't matter. It didn't recognize anything but movement. So if it was on and someone was trying to play it on a demonstration, someone walked past the shop, the ball started bouncing everywhere. They were like, "Oh shit!" It was trash. But Sony, quickly gave up on that.
Right. I was going to get to that.
The camera still existed. Yeah, the camera still existed, but they quickly gave up on it. And then they move on to the PS3 with their 3D and their tilting and stuff, which they robbed from Nintendo, whatever. It's there, but they don't use it. And you can even argue now with PSVR. PSVR is probably the most effort they have put into any accessory that they've ever made. I think it's probably the most effort, but you can still feel that disconnection from it. From Sony and them really trying to make this an integral.
I feel like they're pushing it a
That's
little.
what I was gonna say. Oh,
I was just gonna say because they added gyro aiming to The Last of Us Part 2. They kept it in the controller. They kept the the touchpad, and then they added some more rumble, and they added a microphone, because I don't think there wasn't a microphone in the controller before. There was a plug for a microphone. So I feel like, I mean, maybe it's not going to be a full effort, but at least they're not
at the end of a generation,
But at the same time, they're still trying. I mean, it's still putting it out there. And like I said, when this controller was first shown, maybe only Gravity Rush 3 will actually use gyro. But at the same time, I got to give them some credit for at least still putting it as an option in the controller, not just going completely standard, boring controller like Xbox.
I don't want to give them credit because I feel like it's a ruse, because they do it all the time. They do it and they put it out there front and center, and then all the journalists and shit jizz all over it, and then they don't do it. They don't use it. They never use the shit. I remember Hip Hop Gamer. This is
God.
Way back. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, Terrell.
Oh no.
Oh my God, the touchpad and all this shit on the PS4. I'm like, bruh. Bruh, really?
Mm-hmm.
The touchpad on the PS4 controller, really? Like, come on. And, they barely use the thing. It's cool for menus and shit, but, they barely use it. So that's why, it's like, oh yeah, I'm happy that they're pushing control technology, but they really aren't. It's just a ruse. It's a gimmick.
Because you mentioned the touchpad, I have to say this. I've played a lot of PlayStation 4 the past few days. Like, I finished Days Gone, and I was gonna play with my Switch, and I was playing Animal Crossing, and I was like, oh, let me pull up my inventory, and I had my Switch Pro controller, and I went like this with my thumb. I was like, oh wait, wrong fucking controller. Like, that touchpad, it is pretty good, and I like the stuff it brings, but it's like most things, people just make these gimmicks. Even Nintendo's guilty to some degree with the Wii U gamepad. Like, these companies do these things that can be awesome and can do all this shit, and then they barely use it. Just like the gyro on the fucking on the Switch Pro controller. I've used a gyro more on Steam than on fucking Nintendo games. I mean, Zelda uses it, and that's the only one, because of fucking Splatoon I turn it off because it's annoying there. Those are the only two.
Yeah, I mean, they gave up on
because Nintendo barely does anything.
Smash for Wii U. You couldn't even use the touchscreen on the menus. It's like,
you can't
man,
you can't even do Ultimate though.
God, I love that multi-touch screen that everyone wanted.
Yeah. So it's just
no sense.
It's just a weird. It's a weird trend in for all the companies to add these things and then not utilize them to their fullest extent. It's like, the one thing I'll give Nintendo credit for during the GameCube era was, as somebody who was into like home theater and stuff, I was really excited about ProLogic 2 actually getting a 5.1 experience with just stereo analog inputs, and so I actually upgraded my surround sound receiver and stuff in anticipation. And every single Nintendo game supported progressive scan and Dolby ProLogic 2. Third-party games, it was a crapshoot. I mean, some would, some didn't. Some did the ProLogic.
Star Wars.
Some didn't do the progressive scan. There was and then I get my Xbox, and it's like, I'm looking for the menu to like press progressive scan. It's like, no, every game's 480p, and it has an option to go to 720p on certain games, can go to 1080i, But for progressive scans, automatic, Dolby Digital standard. You don't have to look for a game to have to support that. But Nintendo's first party always supported those two things, and which were very new back then. So, they had a history of always supporting technologies like that.
They just didn't support their broadband router.
No.
Or not router, but
so I used to use Rogue Leader to do my sound test when I had my sound.
Yeah, didn't have a surround sound little tester or something, or
the TIE fighter would fly around and stuff like that. It's fucking amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah, I just never could figure out how they took a 2-channel input and had 5 discrete channels out of it. It always blew my mind. Because I was before that, you had 2 surround speakers, but they played the same sound. There was no stereo effect to them. It was just they both played identical audio. But anyway, the other thing, we got a little bit more Spider-Man stuff to talk about. They showed off
the face,
a 1-minute reveal of the remaster that you can't buy.
Controversy.
They
That
changed.
face reveal was
They
crazy.
changed
yo.
his character model. I didn't hear the official reason other than somebody said something about the actor. I don't know. They just needed. This is going to be
They
the new
probably
one
didn't want to pay him again.
moving forward. This one somehow, for some reason, that they couldn't use the old one. I don't know what.
I'll look it up real quick
But-
while you guys are talking.
So
Could
then
it
they.
look more
Well,
like
it looked
Tom Holland?
they did what they did with like Thor in the Avengers game, where they took this Spider-Man and they like Tom Hollanded it a little bit.
Yeah, he is
Yeah.
Tom Holland like a motherfucker.
I don't
Yeah.
think it. I didn't see that immediately. It's just completely different face for whatever reason. But so then there's screenshots of showing the reflections are ray traced now. So you see these.
Oh, I have the reason, by the way.
Okay, go ahead.
The reason was they wanted to find an actor who would provide a better match for the voice. The voice's face. Yuri Lowenthal's facial captures, which is the voice actor for Spider-Man, or as anime fans know him as Sasuke.
Mm.
So essentially, the reason was just to get someone who matched the voice actor's face better, I guess.
Did anybody here think that Peter Parker, the original Peter Parker, looked like Peter Parker? I always thought he looked like Harry Osborn, like what I expect Harry Osborn would look
Wait,
like.
what?
I always
I
thought
liked the way he looked.
he just
To
didn't
me,
look.
he looked like a Peter Parker. I mean, Peter Parker has been looked
He
kind
does
of
look like a
different
Peter
in shit, you know. I just the problem I have with his face change. First of all, I don't like it. He looks like a dweeb now. But the problem is, he looks almost younger than Miles Morales, even though they're borderline 10 years apart from each other. He just looks like a child now. I
Mhm.
don't like the way he looks.
He does look younger.
And they didn't change it.
The question is, do you want to kill the developers over it?
No.
I already played the game. So.
Why is that always the gamers' go-to, the first thing?
Because
Let's
murder
death
is
threat.
expensive.
Because they're fucking
Murder is
pathetic.
Jesus
The
Christ.
people that say that kind of stuff are just literally their lives have no value, and they just they don't contribute to society whatsoever. But the thing that really got me and Robert and I kind of got sucked into a debate with some pony. He had to have been pony, but
Oh boy.
they show off the ray tracing features, which it's basically just instead of a fake reflection, now it's a real reflection. And I'm like, cool tech, but that ain't worth $70 on top of the $40 I've already spent on this game. Simple reply, simple tweet. And you should have seen the game's only $20. The game's only $20. It's a remaster.
I saw it.
And I'm like, it's not $20. I'm like,
70.
I go, how much do I have to spend if I want to play Spider-Man Remastered on PS5? How much do I have to spend? And then you got deflections. Oh, you blah blah blah. You don't know all the facts. You're just blah 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 blah. You're one of those guys or something. No one would answer that question. Robert tried to get the same answer. They're like, well, it's 50 for Miles and then it's 20 for Spider-Man. I'm like, well, how much do you have to spend if you want to play Spider-Man Remastered on PS5? And no one would ever. They would just try to deflect. And at least 10 different people said it's a $20 game. How is it a $20? You can't buy the game for $20. You have to pay $70.
It's like trying to argue politics on Twitter. It's pointless.
And I think Clock that struggled with his Mario 64 it's $60 if you want to play it on Switch. That's just a fact. Yeah, you get 2 other games. Yeah, you get Miles Morales. But as somebody who owns Spider-Man, got 30% of the way through, it's just, even if it was $20, it wouldn't be worth it for me. But at the same time, you can't deny the fact that it would cost me $70 to play that version of the game, and I just don't.
You can't deny it. That's the problem.
The first problem is
My-
why are you charging that money for just you change his face? That has no impact on me personally or any as the value of a game, but you're paying extra for reflections. Like, seriously, like, why is that okay? And people were defending it over and over. So go ahead, Clocked It.
No, it's fine. All I was going to say was, I mean, my argument was even more valid just because the age of Mario 64 and how it'd been offered before.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one argument I did see actually is it might be a bit of an interesting topic. Is I think it might have been in a threads of what you guys were talking about and maybe some other ones. People saying now that we're entitled for actually expecting our games to be upgraded to the next generation.
Mm-hmm.
Because we haven't really, had it before, which is a lie, but but how do you? I mean, how do everyone feel about that? Do you feel like because you own Spider-Man on PS4 and it's on PS5, do you now feel like you deserve some sort of upgrade to your PS5, or do you feel that at the very least, considering where we are with the consoles, that game itself should work on the next console?
Yeah, if I buy a fucking $500 box, and it's all about the power of it and all this stuff, and I'm buying the same, or getting the same game again, yeah, I want my box, that purchase I just made, to mean something. Like on PC, they don't have this problem. Like if you upgrade your PC, it automatically, your
don't have it
game
on mobile
automatically
phones?
has these issues. Yeah, like even that. Like you buy a new phone, older games, older apps or whatever don't work as well on your older phones, but they work better and look better on your newer phones. It only, when it comes to these freaking game companies, that people
I mean, we have this argument with Nintendo, but that I think it's just that technology for consoles now have come to the point where there aren't really any more excuses, especially when you're using the same format all the time.
Yeah.
And pretty much just the same, base technology for the hardware. There are no excuses anymore, technological excuses to say, oh, you can't play your old games on this new console anymore. It's with Nintendo, it's always been a bit of a minefield because they've always done something so completely different with their consoles.
But even with Nintendo, like you can look at the 3DS to the new 3DS. Like you get upgrades, like it's like frame rate and stuff like that. You have faster load times and stuff like that. But am I entitled to expect that when I bought a better piece of tech? People are expecting that with the Switch Pro or whatever it's going to be called. I mean, nobody's thinking that, oh man, I gotta repurchase games to get the benefits of having more power. Like that's crazy.
We spoke about this before. And I think that the hatiness almost wants Nintendo to start off fresh again to see how people react.
I kind of do actually. Yeah,
the library being lost.
I might feel slightly different on this topic when you because even if you have a PC, like T said, even on Steam, if a new version of a game comes out, you don't always automatically get it for free.
Yeah, they do.
THQ does it usually,
remasters.
For example, but you don't always get the remaster for free. If you have a game like this, like Spider-Man, for example, in this situation or whatever, I'm on the side where you are not owed the new game. You bought the previous game. This is something different that's been worked on, added on, whatever. It's like you don't deserve it for free in my book. It's extremely great and pro-consumer that a lot of companies do give it to you. I don't feel like you are owed this other game.
The upgraded version you're talking about.
Yeah.
I do.
So you're fine with
No, I'm not fine with it. Oh no! Like I'd rather have.
So that's kind of what you're saying.
Like I don't think it's normal per se, but I understand it. Like it makes sense to me that because it's a different game.
Well, here's the thing.
It doesn't mean that I like
not
it.
a different game.
It's the exact same content, except a couple costumes.
It's literally not a different game.
What he's saying is that at the end of the day, they've put in some more work. They put in some more value into their game. So that's taken time. Now, it's I can, like I said,
here's the problem with that argument though. We've seen that where they put in more work and they're asking you for $70 goddamn for the new version. We've seen that from PS3 to PS4.
And come back to the argument that there's a Switch port. Well, then buy it on the fucking Wii U. I think even if it's a carbon copy, the exact same fucking game, I'm the guy. I'm always thinking it's weird when you have cross-gen games, especially this cross-gen, where every fucking game, Spider-Man, Call of Duty, and whatever the other one was, everybody has like 100 rules. Everything works differently. I'm like, no. You buy a new console, you get new games. If there's a game they're re-releasing on it and you want it again, then you buy it again. And if you don't want to buy it again, then you go to fucking Walmart. You buy it for $10 for the older system. That's just how I feel about it.
You're still in
owed
the
new shit.
Are you still in the generation frame of mind then, where you're happy for each individual console to be its own standalone little island generation?
That's how I see it, and especially now with the PS5 and the Xbox One, it's becoming so convoluted, and everybody is expecting the free shit. But in my head, it's still like, look, you had the Legend of Zelda on the original NES. And then they put the exact same game to Game Boy Advance, but you're not owed that game because it's on the fucking NES.
That's a way different time. That's a way different time.
You can't just put
come on.
You can't just put the Game Boy or the NES cart into a Game Boy where you can put this disc in.
And it was a different time. We are in a time where these things are very easy to do, and they know that.
It's the same architecture. It's just more powerful. But here's the thing. I don't care that if they want to re-release Spider-Man and sell it on PS5 for anybody who didn't have a PS4 and didn't play Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's not the argument.
You can resell the game, make it, take advantage of the PS5, but at the same time, 10 million people bought your game already. And no one asked you to do this extra work. No one asked you to make a PS5 version. But if you do make it and you're going to sell it as a PS5 game, when I put in my disc, I've already bought the game. I only paid $40, but a lot of people paid $60. There's people who paid $60 for it when it came out. And it's the same game. It just has now you have reflections. And someone's like, well, they had to go and change all the surfaces to in the environment to handle the reflections. Same thing with the Minecraft ray tracing. They had to go in and change all the surfaces for the reflections and lighting and all the new properties. But Minecraft ray tracing was a free update. Quake 2. Yeah. How old is that game? They added a ray tracing support. If you own Quake 2, you got this new version that looked fucking awesome. For free, so other developers have done it already, and it's not additional cost. Yeah, Crysis Remastered is technically a new game on PC, above what Crysis looks like on whatever graphics card you have. They went in and basically remade the game. They said remaster, but that game was done over the course of over a year of adding all new assets and stuff. So it was a little more involved, and it's an older game. You're talking about a 2018 game that's
I was just gonna say
one of your biggest sellers.
A game that hadn't come out that long ago.
And it's like the system, the backwards compatibility is there. You play it, and it's gonna play the PS4 Pro version. Obviously.
The price is definitely the biggest factor,
But even if it was,
but it's like, how did they make?
Even if it was a $20.
How did they make this game? How did they make this? Oh shit!
We must have a delay. I was just gonna say,
he's lagging it.
Why should someone who paid $60 for Spider-Man in 2018 have to pay even $20 for this upgrade? It's just, it's basically they had to go in and change reflections. But like I said, I think to Robert or somebody, I was like, if they didn't know in 2018 that this PS5 was coming out and they could potentially have ray tracing, there was other games like Control came out in 2019, and 3-4 months later they put out a patch to add ray tracing. They didn't have to redesign the whole game. They had they were looking to the future when they built the game, so they didn't have to go in and do all this work. So you could say it was, why didn't Insomniac, did they not plan for this? Did they not know ray tracing was going to be a thing they would have to implement 2 years later?
That's exactly what I was about to say. I was going to say, how did they make this Spider-Man for PS5? They took did they start from scratch?
No.
Hell no. They took the old build, they worked on that, and they patched it. So send me that goddamn patch. Like, why can't you send me the patch?
Well, here's the other
when
thing
it's
we
not
found out.
difficult, you're just being greedy.
Especially, it's not
greedy.
gonna take. It's
You
not
know,
gonna take.
It's one thing for me to get upset about like Pikmin 3, but that game is like 7 years old at least. You know, it's like at least.
It's also like it's not gonna take that crazy long. When I mean, you think they're if it was like it's like oh it took so many hours. Like oh, you think they're working on Spider-Man remastered, Miles Morales and Ratchet and Clank, and somehow it's like obviously that one didn't really take that much
No.
time compared to the actual new games that they're working on. It's like
And they're
it doesn't
locking
make
it.
sense.
You want to talk about locking a game behind a paywall? If you really want to play Spider-Man Remastered, you have no choice but to pay $70. And maybe you're thinking Miles Morales be worth.
Yeah. Remember when people were upset about that?
It's like maybe Miles Morales is going to be a really awesome game, and it's not going to be what I think. It's going to be like 8 hours with 3 hours of cutscenes. You know, maybe Miles Morales turns out to be a little bit more in depth or longer than I'm anticipating, but it's like at the very least, somebody buys a PS5. They're not sure if they want Miles Morales, but they've heard good things about Spider-Man. Why can't they buy that standalone game for $20 and get a taste of Spider-Man and then say, you know what, I like this, maybe I'll try Miles Morales? Why is it locked behind a $70 purchase? That's the part that is like undefendable, I think.
Also, because just like at what point do
it's
we
like,
stop?
And the thing is, it's like, why are you getting this? Why does this exist?
Because I'm thinking, like, at what point do we stop?
Yeah,
that's what it was.
I'm not sure really why they felt the need to do that, but let's check the questions real quick. There's not a ton here. Skate's Finest asked this: what's the story behind your screen names, especially Terminator Juice? I swear I've said this so many damn times, but
it's been a while. It's been a while though.
I'll just quickly playing GoldenEye back in 97, probably. I'm sure it was 97 when split screen and we were doing grenade launchers only. And one of the
chaos.
It was mostly just me and two of my friends played it the most, Tim and Tony. And Tim was like, he sucked at the game. He just couldn't get the handle on it, and he'd always get mad. And he's like, "We're doing grenade launchers only," and he'd go into the other room, go out the door, and then he'd die because the flames, went through the wall sometimes. Because we do one hit, whatever that was called, not golden gun, but where one shot killed you no matter what. We always played that way. And the flame, as soon as
you guys played brutal.
Yeah, as soon as the flame touched you, you die. But there was no flame because it was in the other room, and there must have been a little glitch or something. He's like, "What keeps killing me?" Because he kept dying that way. And my buddy, just out of nowhere, he was just like, "It was the Terminator juice." we looked at each other, paused, and we all just busted up laughing. We probably laughed for 10 minutes, man. We were crying. It was just one of those funny, random. And he wasn't known for just making up weird stuff. Like it just came to him, and he said it, and it's one of my favorite memories from playing GoldenEye. So I just one day I wanted to change my lame DreamCube09 name. I know Terrell liked to bring that one up, and
it's still pretty funny.
Getting serious with Call of Duty, I was like, man, I need a new name.
Remember that?
And
DreamCube.
So I was like,
DreamCube though.
So I paid the $10.
Cubes, baby.
Yeah, how did DreamCube come about?
Dreamcast and GameCube, baby.
Obviously.
And I made a video about the Wii U or the Wii's sensor bar. The cord was too short for my setup, and I was complaining, and I had to come up with a name to make a YouTube channel. So it still says
this clown naming himself DreamCube, and
I hate
between those two consoles, he probably has like 20 game library.
Less now.
Damn.
I got rid of all my Dreamcast.
So bust him out like this. Damn.
Kind of like Wii and 360 with me, but
But he got games. I bet he got games though. You ain't got no games.
I got money instead of games now. All right, so Clocked It. I don't think I've ever heard Clocked It's how he came up with his title or name.
Yeah, I mean, mine don't have a funny story like yours, but mine's quite worldwide. known, I think. It's an old arcade term. I mean, I grew up in the arcades, and it was originally, I didn't get it from this, but it was originally used when you clock something in a game, is when you played an arcade game for so long, and you got your points so high. Basically, the points counter would reset to 0. So if you went 9999999, it would reset to 0. So the clock would reset. So that means you clocked the game, and a lot of people done that in the arcades. When I started using it, was just more when you just finished a video game. I started using it in the arcades when, in my local arcades, one game I really clocked was House of the Dead. And I played the original House of the Dead so much. The only way to get your name put your initials in a score is to actually complete the game. And I became so good at the game, I just £2 in there, both guns for myself, complete the game, and I had my name from JBB for my initials, from number 1 to 10 on the
What?
game.
God damn.
Because I was the only person to do it. And then one time I went in there and they had reset the machine. I fucking gutted because I had my name on from number 1 to 10. I was gutted. But yeah, we used to say it all the time, man. I just clocked this game, man. I just clocked that.
Never,
this.
never heard
Like,
anyone
you
say
never
that.
really use that term anymore. Now you always say like, I rinsed it. Shouldn't you go like rinsed it?
Also, I rinsed it, yeah.
I don't think I've
I've never heard
that
anybody
clocked
say they
every now
clocked
and
it
then.
in that.
Some
I've
of
heard
my
clocked
friends-
it a couple of times.
Clocked
Yeah,
it is a different term where I'm from.
Well, yeah, I mean, in
It's a different
London,
terminology.
it's a different term as well.
It's some street shit. It's some street shit. That was it.
I wonder what it means.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's
Why don't
just
you
for
like
finishing
me,
games.
T?
For finishing games, and I always use it.
Where'd you
back
get
in
your
the day.
name, Terrell? The insane game freak.
Okay, all right. I mean, we could go. Well, we clocked it. Were you finished? I didn't want to just
Go ahead. We run out of
No, I
time.
was finished. Go on.
Okay, so it's funny because I have two. My original YouTube name was the game Manic, and that's how you can tell my old friends from my new friends. My old friends call me Manic. My new friends always call me either Game Freak or they'll just call me Terrell. But so they both have the same premise behind their names though, which is insanity and or like craziness and Pokemon. Game Manic, because that one's probably because people always used to call it the Game Maniac because people can't fucking read. Was a mixture of gaming and manic, which for those who play Pokemon, that's a trainer class in Pokemon is manic. There's a Pokemanic is what they were called. The only reason why I called myself Game Manic back then was because I thought Game Freak was copyrighted because that's the name of the company that makes Pokemon. So my brain was like, I don't want to get in trouble, so I'll pick a name that isn't like copywritten. And then when I made the second shot, I was like, you know what, fuck it. I'm gonna just go for what I wanted to go for. But I still wanted to have some word that meant crazy in there. And manic worked as a double meaning. So I said, you know what, fuck it. I'll just go with insane. So like that's the theming behind all my channels is insanity and Pokemon in some way, shape, or form. So insane, Game Freak being the company that makes Pokemon.
And you know, it took me till I don't know how many years. It's not been that long since I realized the Game Freak part of it.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize.
I just thought it meant you're a freak about games. Like,
yeah, see, you took it literally. A lot of people don't recognize that that's a Pokemon reference. It's funny to me. But
well,
yeah,
I said that to you on Twitter because I posted a GIF. I don't know why it just came to me one day. I went, "Fucking Game Freak." Of course, it's fucking Pokemon. What the hell, man? I was laughing to myself. I was like, I got to tell Terrell that I want to just work this out.
Yeah, God did like I saw the mystery. Like I was like,
well, I was caught up on it because in the 80s and the early to mid 90s, people called you a game freak if you played a lot of video games. So before we knew what Game Freak as a company, so that's what I was caught up on that. I wasn't even thinking about Game Freak, the company, obviously.
And
Pokemon,
see,
so.
it works as a double meaning for it. So people take it literally. I'm good. If they don't take it literally, and you're a Pokemon fan, I'm still good. I got all my. What about you, Mr. T? Who inspired the name?
Just throw it everywhere.
I think.
Yeah, well, actually, it's actually a little deeper.
T's got a little.
It's a little deeper than people would think. Obviously, Mr. T, right? But huh?
There's about a 10-second delay.
Am I lagging again?
Yeah, there's at least
Oh,
five
you're like,
to
"Dang,
10 seconds.
bro."
Yeah.
Let's wait for him to hear that.
Is it that bad?
Retro looks.
All right,
Retro
well, let me
looks
get it-
retro again as well.
Let me get it out then. So I love Sweeney Todd. Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber's Fleet Street. Obviously, they did the movie. What was it? What's his name? Tim Burton
Johnny
did the
Depp.
movie not that long ago, and
Johnny Depp.
it was Johnny Depp and whatnot, right? So Helena Bonham Carter's character in the movie will refer to him as Missa T. That was just how she. So I came on it from that because I like that idea. I like the way she said Missa T. You know, she was saying Mr. T because his last name. I can't remember what his last name is in the movie,
Todd.
but and I just I took that to I like Mr. T. Duh, Sweeney Todd. Duh. Duh.
Yeah, good 5-second delay there.
Well, anyway, yeah. So Mr. T, we went to Mr. T, which obviously was a super '80s icon, and me being a '80s baby, I just took that and put it together, Mr. T.
All right. So there's this one guy. He takes his name so literal that he makes his camera look like he's 16-bit, and that's a Retro Death. He literally looks like
I'm buying a new
you.
webcam.
Literally look like
You're fucking
Sega.
lying. You're lying.
He looks
You're
like
not gonna do
Sega
it.
CD FMVs on Sega CD.
I wonder what retro death means. God damn it.
I actually used to be, well, not
He looks like an artsy fartsy indie game.
because at one point I changed my channel, but before that, and I think almost none of you were there at that time. I used to be called Ripley 4077, based on my favorite movie Alien and my favorite TV show MASH. And then I was like, dude, my subs are going fucking nowhere. I need to get rid of these fucking numbers. Like people always had like XO, Super, I needed to get rid of these numbers. And I literally spent like a week trying to come up with a new name. And I was like, I want to like just combine my love for video games with my love for metal and have no numbers in there. So I actually like did a lot of research. Like I had a name and I was like, oh, let me check this out. And then I saw people were using it already, so I'm not going to use that and shit. And I ended up using retro for gaming and just death for the metal. And when I just said it, like retro death, it rolled off the tongue so sexily. I was like, it's got to be that.
All the
Like,
bitches
it's more
like
simple
death.
than that. Yeah. like what Terrell has, like people who know me from the really old days, they still call me Rep as a username instead of Retro because they shortened Ripley to like Rep and stuff. But there's only like a handful of people that still use that.
And Aliens 3 is
Yeah,
the
so
best
calling it Ripley
alien
now,
movie,
yeah.
by the way.
What I will say about my YouTube
which was
name
the
as
best
well.
alien
My old YouTube name is Floetry, like 81 or 1981 or something.
I remember that.
Yeah, and that was just there's this R&B like hip hop band, these two beautiful soul sisters, man, called Floetry. They made really good fucking music. And I think it's quite a sad story actually. Around the time my nan died, and I listened to that album so hard, I was like, fucking hell, this album's getting me through it. And then I named my YouTube just profile after that band, just Floetry 1981, which is I think it was, which is my birth year. But then when I clocked it, I gave no thought whatsoever to the actual. I think what a lot of people do, they just create your channel just on whatever YouTube ID you've already got, and I just roll from there. So I don't regret it. It's just I don't care. It's not like I'm going into a business or anything, but but that's all it was.
That's crazy because I remember
Clark
comments
didn't,
from
Retro didn't like it.
Floetry
No.
1981 all the time.
Yeah, that was me. Yeah.
So, off topic, I just saw this on Twitter and I just didn't want to forget to bring this up. So, Rocket League went free to play, on what day was it?
That was like when in like
23rd?
almost
Yeah.
2 weeks ago.
So Sunless Khan, he's one of the biggest. He actually has some tutorial that Psionics
Wait,
commissioned
did I
him
miss
for.
it? Did Robert go already?
Now I'm just saw something real quick. I just wanted to. So since it went free to play, his average views per day was looks like about 200,000, and now he's up to almost 3 million views a day from just from Rocket League going free to play, and that just blows my mind. I wonder what.
Damn.
He's had 8 million plus more views this month than the previous month. It's crazy. But anyway, I just can't believe
Now's the time to make the
now would have been a
videos,
time.
dude.
I mean, it would have been a good time to be like him, be a pretty successful Rocket League content creator. The power of free to play. But anyway, Robert, your name's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
I don't know if everybody here knows about your previous name,
Well, but what about my first channel?
Raving Rabbids.
203, which is very self-explanatory. It's just I really like the rabbits. I'm gonna name myself Raving Rabbit 203, and I forget where the 203 was from, but I think it was just a random number I did. And then I named myself off for every single console that, and then when I made the actual channels, all right, I gotta think of a good name, something that would be so memorable, it would rhyme and everything. And it's good. We in 360 with me. Oh my god, that is perfect. And I would love to know where the previous names. I'm sure I thought of other names. I was 14 and my dumbass didn't think, oh wait a minute. I don't only play the Wii or the 360. And that same year the Xbox One came out. What? It makes no sense. No sense, yo. And then literally a few years down the road, I remember asking you guys, I'm like, you guys think I should change my name? I remember asking you guys, and it was like, yeah. And then it was so simple. I should just go back, to 2013 before I made the channel and be like, dude, just call it gaming with me. It's gaming. Just say anything gaming, dude.
And it makes sense being a streamer too.
This confuses the shit out of me.
There was this movement, right?
Was it?
I don't know.
Retro, go ahead. Retro. Raise your hand, Retro. Go ahead.
There was this movement.
Damn it.
There's this movement during the PS3 reveal and whatnot, where they were talking about, you can get a Wii and a 360 for the price of getting a PS3. And I remember that being a thing.
And funny story.
Well, I'm going to get a Wii and 360.
Funny story before Robert finishes. My Xbox 360 name wasn't DreamCube09. It was my initials, and I was a little more clever than Robert. It was my initials and Wii 60.
14. I was 14.
Instead of 360, it was Wii 60. So we had similar names. We had similar thought process there because I was playing the Wii and the 360 exclusively at that time.
So you're more clever than a 14-year-old. Congratulations.
I just know is because something that confuses the shit out of me. You're saying now, Robert, that the 203 is just a random number. It means nothing. And why the fuck did you reuse it for the Trevor shit?
The what?
Trevor.
On Twitter, you're like Trevor. Why did you reuse it? That means nothing.
Robert's looking 8-bit right now too, by the way.
Because it's kind of think about 203. If I might as well stick with it. I like the 203.
So
He's like, oh my god, man.
If I'm gonna do any number, I already have a history with 203.
Yeah.
So 203 is gonna be my number.
I'm just gonna throw this out. The funniest shit is seeing T's reaction. Partially because he doesn't have any time for it. The other part is that he hasn't heard the joke yet. So
I think he's caught up a little bit. He seems to be more close. So damn it, I forgot what I was gonna say.
But that's one hell of a hockey mask.
Damn it. Anyway, I just wanted to show this because I'm a cat dad, and I just think this is. Hopefully she don't wake up. We got
Your new name is Catman.
Sleeping kitty down here. likes to
you
bury her
should
head.
definitely-
Ah,
She likes to bury her head in my arm because it's warm. But I had an epiphany. I was
Not what it
playing
was.
Galaxy 2. I only probably
yes,
spent
it did.
10 lives on this last level before I realized I had stuff to do. I realized I think I know why it's not in the All-Star collection. And I'm being serious. There is some precision pointing needed with Yoshi, and I had forgotten some of the Yoshi levels. There is some, you got to be really fast and like without the pointer. So they couldn't just port the game. Even the gyro aiming wouldn't been accurate enough from what I've seen with having to reset it all the time. They would actually had to do some work and made it auto, like hold the L button or something and have it auto target, and then you could hit it. I mean, it would have worked. It would have been easier to do it that, it would have been easier to play, but they would have required a little bit of work there, or they would have had to remove some of the Yoshi levels. And I honestly believe that's probably the reason that it didn't make it.
Could be actually, because that would actually
Because
make
in
sense.
Galaxy 1, the pointer's not really that crucial to anything. I mean, you have to grab those blue stars, but it's to like pull yourself. But it's not as, you can hold yourself and and then go grab the other one. It's not an instant thing, because I've died in this last level.
To be fair, even with the blue stars, sometimes you have to get a bit of momentum.
Yeah.
When you have to fly down and stuff, you have to be quick on it.
But it's not the last level in Galaxy 2. I mean, it is pinpoint. You have to have that pointer on the little flower thing to grab as you're falling. If you miss it, you're dead. You start over.
You're still on that star, yo. See, it's
I've
a tough one.
died 44 times, and I would
It's a
say
tough one,
I would say
exactly.
10 of those 44 were me hitting the jump button and Yoshi not doing his flutter jump, just falling. So I don't know what the issue is if I hit it too soon.
Too garbage, man.
But-
Unresponsive shit.
So
What?
You should
Get
have
out of
made
here, Rich.
you should have made a little converter or
Playing.
a attachment to make the sensor bar work for your Switch.
and have a Wii
would be
remote work
cool.
because Bluetooth.
That would be dope.
But anyway, I honestly believe that it just was too much work for them. And it's probably wasn't been a lot of work to add that auto target system or something. And if you really want,
if you believe that, I mean, my God, that people got like hope for Skyward Sword, which is like,
I mean, I
get
don't
Yoshi to
get
work,
the whole
but,
thing.
I do believe there was a bit. Well, then there's reports saying there was promotional for April for that game, and that never was released, but somebody leaked or found it on data mining their website or whatever, and there was initial promotional material for that game coming out in April.
What?
So
Skyward Sword.
no, the 3D All Stars. So there's other people who are saying, well, they didn't have time. They only made the game in 6 months. There's no way they could have added more games. I'm like, well, if it was supposed to be done in April, then they had 6 months to add another game or two. If that's true.
Yeah.
So, but because I was like, yeah, this would be really a pain in the ass with analog stick, or if you're playing in handheld mode, I guess you could use the touch screen. But still, you're blocking the screen. I mean, there's some precision shit there, and if you mess up, it's instant death. So I kind of feel like that might have be a factor.
I remember people saying, "Oh, well, the sensor bar was such a pain in the ass," and honestly, those people never played the Wii. Like, it is so frustrating because it's not even a comparison. Like, the sensor bar is you. It's literally you and your accuracy compared to the damn driver. Like, it's not even close. Like, people, I hear that. I've heard that before. Was like, oh, it's actually I prefer it over the Wii. Like,
No.
fuck out of here. You haven't played the Wii in 10 years. Get the fuck out of here.
The only problem with the Wii was when you, if you went too far off and it kind of lost the sensor bar, then it didn't know what to do in games. They didn't have a way to like have the gyro like help it when you went off screen. But but then you just got used to.
It was kind of like a 1 second cut, wasn't it? Before it was realized it was back on the screen. I know what you're talking about.
But once you got good at it, like your hand, like I barely move my hand. It's like it's on my thigh, my wrist, and I mean minimal movement, even to shake the remote. And it's like once you got used to it, I mean that's
learning the subtleties of a controller. I think a lot of people a lot of people don't. It's quite sad. A lot of people don't like to do that. That happened a lot with the Wii U. You look at like Wonderful 101. I don't want to learn how to play this game with the touchpad and stuff. People don't like new control setups. They're so stuck in their space now with 2 analog sticks and these buttons. So if you try something new, even if it's not perfect, some people just don't want to learn the little subtlety of certain control setups, and it's quite sad.
Star Fox Zero.
Yeah.
Oh god.
I actually got
I would genuinely love it if Nintendo released like a sensor bar for the Switch or something and had like bring back the Wii Remote Nunchuck, yo.
bring back an
Like-
advanced a pro version of it though.
I mean, TT
Bro version,
mentioned
yeah.
Star Fox Zero, but even when I finished playing that, when you got good at that game, there was nothing like having a ship flying towards you and then quickly tilting the pad because to try and catch it as it flew past the screen. It's fucking awesome when you got
Yeah,
it
because
right.
just gyro
So good.
controls in general would have worked for the aiming even without the screen cockpit view. You could have just done gyro aiming for the
Yeah, that
not
was
for
the
your
gyro
ship,
aiming
but for your cursor on screen, and it's like when you got good at it, it was actually really fun, and I enjoyed that. That's my favorite. I mean, other than the original, that was my I guess it'd be my second favorite, Star Fox game.
Well, Zero, your second favorite?
Yeah, I really enjoyed Zero. I tried to get, forget the medal system how it worked, but I almost got, I think it was a gold was the max, and I got it on most of the levels except for a couple that were just a little too challenging for me. But anyway, I think that's all we got for today. We might have missed something, but we had a good discussion going early about the Smash characters and stuff. So, we're what, 5 weeks, 4 weeks? What are we to the Xbox? 5 weeks? Yeah, it's the 10th, so it's a month and 5 days.
Yeah,
So, I think that's like 5 weeks. And
It doesn't get delayed.
and it's curious because 5 weeks and we still haven't seen a game running on the Series X officially, other than current gen or older. So it's gonna be an interesting time. I have a feeling we're gonna get a lot of new news, like new information in the coming weeks. So we'll probably have lots to talk about. Hopefully they don't just launch these things without any more info, but I think they will. But yeah,
Real close.
so that's going to do it for this one. I want to thank everybody in the chat. I kind of forgot about the chat for a while today. I apologize. We had a really good discussion going, and I didn't want to interrupt it to call out anything in the chat there for quite a while. So I apologize for that.
Chat.
But
I tried to dip in chat. I tried.
yeah, just it's hard when you got a good discussion
Best
going.
film ever made, by the way. Just to let
Big
you know.
Trouble Little China. I can read that mirrored, because it come through mirrored. Yeah, so we're gonna get out of here, and we'll be back next week. Do it all again. So until then, peace.